Good day, everyone. I am Venus Rogelio, and I will be discussing Lesson 3.7 with the topic Deserts and Winds. Our objectives for this lesson is to describe the general distribution of the Earth's drylands and explain why deserts form in the subtropics and middle latitudes. So let us talk first about drylands. Drylands are land areas that receive relatively low overall amounts of precipitation in the form of rainfall or snow. So, drylands also occur on all continents between 63° north and 55° south, but it can be mostly seen in Africa and Asia. Drylands also take up 41.3% of the land surface and are inhabited by 2.1 billion people, or meaning they are the home to 1/3 people in the world. Meaning, drylands are characterized by scarcity of water. Scarcity of water means kakulangan ng tubig. So, according to the United Nations Environment Program, the four dryland subtypes with their corresponding index of aridity are: first, dry subhumid, which ranges from 0.50 to 0.65. Next is semi-arid, from 0.20 to 0.50. Then arid, from 0.05 to 0.20. And the last one is hyper-arid, which is lesser than 0.5. In this figure, it shows the distribution of Earth's dryland based on aridity. Aridity means deficiency of moisture. We have dry subhumid areas, semi-arid areas, arid areas, and hyper-arid areas. When it rains in the desert, it is usually strong and brief. Because of the high rainfall rate, not all of the water will soak in, resulting in rapid runoff and erosion. Two climatic forms of drylands are widely recognized, which are desert or arid and steppe or semi-arid. Steppe is a marginal and more humid version of the desert. In physical geography, a steppe is an ecoregion characterized by grassland plains without trees, apart from those near rivers and lakes. They also receive 25 to 50 centimeters or 10 to 20 inches of rain each year. This is enough rain to support short grasses, but not enough for tall grasses or trees to grow. Many kinds of grasses grow in steppes, but few grow taller than half a meter. On the other hand, desert is one of the driest and most arid places in the biosphere. They have dry soil, little to no surface water, and rapid evaporation. There is also little precipitation and extreme temperature. There is little vegetation in the desert because of the extreme living conditions. However, despite the conditions, there is still a diversity of species living that have to adapt to harsh environment. So, desert facts. The Sahara is the largest hot desert on Earth, while Antarctica is the largest cold desert on Earth. So, let us focus on deserts. Deserts are part of a wider class of regions of sand. It covers more than one-third of the Earth's land surface, where its average precipitation is low and evaporation rates are high. The amount of precipitation and range of temperature is dependent on the geographical and physiological locations of the area. Deserts can also occur in the either hot or cold climates. Deserts are drier than steppes, but both are water stressed. Mountains can also be found in some deserts. There are four types of desert, which are subtropical, semi-arid, coastal, and polar desert. Subtropical deserts are caused by the circulation patterns of air masses. It is located along the equator, the Tropic of Cancer, and the Tropic of Capricorn. The subtropical deserts are the hottest desert on Earth with daytime temperature that can reach up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Example of this is the Sahara Desert. Semi-arid deserts are located along Asia, Europe, and North America. These cold winter deserts often form when tall mountain ranges block moisture through a process called the rain shadow effect. Example of this desert is Death Valley in the U.S. states of California and Nevada. Coastal deserts are formed alongside the tropical western edges of continents near the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. Cold ocean currents contribute to the formation of these coastal deserts. Coastal deserts remain dry despite their proximity to water. Example of this is the Atacama Desert. And the last one is the polar desert, which can be found in the Arctic and Antarctic. Winter temperature in this area average around -50 degrees Fahrenheit, and it contains great quantities of water, but most of it is locked in the glaciers and is ice sheets year-round. The subtropics and the middle latitudes are where drylands are concentrated, and subtropical deserts. The vicinity of the Tropic of Cancer in Capricorn is the epicenter of subtropical dry climates, areas of high pressure and sinking air that is compressed and warm, resulting in little rainfall. The global distribution of air pressure and winds are the causes of these bands of low-latitude desert. So, subtropical deserts and steppes are associated with subtropical high-pressure belts and are located between 20-degree and 30-degree north and south latitude. So a diagram of Earth's atmospheric circulation helps visualize this relationship. According to NASA, the distribution of subtropical deserts and steppes is closely related to the global distribution of air pressure. So, warm and moist air rise near the equator, causing a lot of rain, then moves to 20-degree or 30-degree latitude before sinking back to Earth's surface. Clear skies, plenty of sunshine, and dry conditions are brought by the subsiding air to these areas of subtropical high pressure. Example of subtropical deserts is the Sahara Desert that covers the majority of northeastern Africa, which is around 10% of the mainland. Another example is the Arabian Desert that makes up about the greater part of the Arabian Peninsula, which incorporates the nation of Qatar, Yemen, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. Why deserts form in middle latitudes. The summer temperature in mid-latitude deserts is not very hot due to its location in the temperature zone, which is colder than the tropical zone. Middle latitude deserts and steppes exist because they are protected in the deep interiors of large land masses. They are inland basins that are located far from the ocean, the ultimate source of moisture for cloud formation and precipitation. The temperate region is also surrounded by tall mountains which block the winds that cause rain. It causes very little rain in the summer and rainy season. During winter, little snowfall can be seen. Due to the climatic condition, the middle latitude deserts exist. Desert and middle latitudes are subject to rain shadow effect. As the air is forced upward, it cools, resulting in clouds and precipitation on windward slopes. The rain shadow, on the other hand, tends to be quite dry on the leeward side. One of the notable examples of mid-latitude desert in the southern hemisphere is the Patagonia in South America. Rain shadow deserts form in Earth's mid-latitude regions when high mountains cause air to rise and rain on their windward sides, then sink without raining on the leeward side. The figure explains it all. Another example of middle latitude desert is the Gobi Desert of Central Asia, which is the largest and driest desert in Asia. Next is the wind in the desert. Deserts are known for their dry dirt or sand, which is easy to move. Due to the lack of physical obstacles, desert winds are less likely to slow down or stop, allowing them to transport particles more easily and farther. Wind has the ability to radically alter the physical environment, and one way that wind can change an environment is by wind erosion, which is the process of particles being broken down and dispersed by wind movement. Abrasion and deflation are the two types of wind erosion that can occur. So, the transformation of sediment by wind. Wind differs from running water in two ways. The first one is it is less capable of picking up and moving coarse materials, and wind is not restricted to channels, allowing sediment to spread across broad areas. And there are two types of wind transport mechanism. The first one is the bed load, and the second one is the suspended load. Bed load includes saltation or the skipping and bouncing of the sand grains along the surface. Below is a cloud of saltating sand grains moves up to the gentle slope of a zone during a time of high desert wind velocity. Suspended load, on the other hand, is a very small particles of salt and clay that can be carried by wind for long distance. In the picture, we can see that salt and clay are transported by wind. It is during the Dust Bowl days of the 1930s. The two types of wind erosion that can occur in a desert are deflation and abrasion. Deflation is the process where wind removes surface materials. Deflation produces blowouts or shallow depressions and desert pavement or a surface of coarse pebbles and cobbles. Abrasion, on the other hand, is where the particles are moved by the wind. It produces ventipocs or stones with flat faces and yardangs, which are wind-sculpted ridges. When the wind's velocity drops to the point that the particles can no longer be moved, sediment might be deposited. As the velocity diminishes, some of the suspended sediment can no longer hold its position and falls out to create a deposit. Rocks, plants, and human-made structures that protrude above the Earth's surface are examples of topographic barriers that can cause the wind deposits. Sand dunes and lost deposits can be formed by wind erosion and deposition. Sand dunes form when there is a ready supply of sand, steady wind, and some kind of obstacle to trap some of the sand. So when moving air slows down to the downwind side of a barrier, as sand dunes occur, the sand grains fall out and form a mound, which eventually turns into a dune. Dune can cover enormous areas and rise up to 500 meters in height. So there are types of sand dunes, six all. So which are Barchan, transverse, Barchanoid, longitudinal, parabolic, and the star dunes. Bartran are crescent shaped with downwind pointing tips. So with downwind pointing tips. And it is formed when sand is limited and the ground is flat, hard, and largely free of vegetation. Longitudinal are long straight dunes that form in areas with a limited sand supply and converging wind directions. So mao ni jung na kaning mga long straight dunes. This ngana. Then another one is the parabolic. Parabolic are also called blowout dunes with tips pointing upwind. It is in the shape of a crescent, so it is in the shape of a crescent and tips pointing upwind. To stabilize the dune, it forms along coasts with a strong onshore wind plenty of sand and vegetation. So dool siya sa kuan dagat nga dahay plenty of sand and napoy vegetation. So mo nas parabolic. And the last one is the third dunes. These dunes with several arms and variable slip face direction that form in areas where there is abundant sand and variable wind direction. So, gingon nga the variable wind direction. So, nay hangin diri gikan, hangin diri pud gikan or asa nga area din ha. So, mo ni siya ang with several arms and slip nagporma. So, clearly understand mo ni diyang figure. Another type of wind deposits is loess. Loess is a fine sediment that is deposited by the wind. So, it contributes to the formation of rich soil, and crop growing areas with substantial deposits of loess are quite useful. And for the last part is the desertification. New desert areas are beginning to form through desertification. Desertification is the land degradation that occurs in the dry lands. So, desertification is mo na ka ng mga problema nga mo occur sa mga kuan desierto nga mukakos sa di na jud mukakuan ng mga crop. So, na yung mga solutions nga gi-introduce. So, doing sustainable land management practices helps to combat desertification and to recover and rehabilitate land, soil, water, and vegetation. Sustainable land management refers to the multifunctional use of land that includes enhanced and traditional water harvesting technique and water storage and conservation measures, the use of safe and treated wastewater for irrigation, afforestation for arresting soil erosion and improving groundwater recharge, and many more. So there are many more suggested solutions to fight against the desertification. And doing this, we can save our dry lands.